Now, this afternoon, we're taking a look at some albums of Elvis Presley in the first act, and in the second act, we're going to take a look at some eras of recordings of Elvis. But to get things started, we're going to go to March of 1960. This was a time right after Elvis had gotten out of the Army. He'd been away in the Army for 2 years, and I urge all of you new fans, if your only experience with Elvis's story in the Army is watching the Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie, I urge you to do some research on your own and find out exactly what happened and why Elvis went to the Army. It wasn't exactly the way you saw in the movie, but there was an opportunity for Elvis to not have to serve, and he chose, no, I want to go serve my country in Germany, in the Army. And if you've ever been one of those people that wondered, wow, you know, you give Elvis a set of keys to a Cadillac, and there's no telling what he's going to do in that car, you know, coming down the hill at Graceland. Can you imagine giving him the keys to a tank? Do they have keys for a tank? No. I'm sure there's a button of some kind that Elvis knew how to work. But he came back from the Army, got back from the Army to the United States just around the 5th of March. And just a couple of days later, he went to Nashville to start recording. He hadn't recorded an album of new music since King Creole in 1957, so he was back in the studio after 2 years. He had been finding songs he really liked while he was in the Army because he knew when he came back he was going to have to go immediately into the recording studio. Now, these days, you and I could record a song this afternoon and we could put it on the internet tonight. You know, we can get it that quick, streaming for people to hear. But back in the day, records had to be pressed in vinyl and had to go to factories and had to have printed, you know, the sleeves for the album with the name of the songs. But they were so encouraged by 1 million singles already that had been sold that Elvis hadn't even recorded the song yet. And they didn't know what that song was going to be. They had the little sleeve for the 45 printed that said Elvis's new single. And they had a hole cut out in the middle for the label to show because they didn't know what the song was going to be. But they knew they had to get it out quick. So 2 days after Elvis recorded Stuck on You, 2 days later it was in stores. That's the equivalent of dropping an album on the internet today. 2 days. Within a month, Elvis is back. The album was in stores. Now, the photographs on that album had been printed ahead of time. They were some Army shots of Elvis, and they didn't know what songs were going to be on the album, so they didn't hold it up in printing. They printed stickers that went on the album to tell you what songs were on it. So if you've got an Elvis's Back album that has a sticker on it, you have an original March 1960 release. So he came back.